Hey guys, Ali After back with another video. This is episode 2 in capital matchmaking. We're going to talk about team. So, in the last episode, we discussed the idea of infrastructure and having the infrastructure for your company when it comes to going out there and, of course, fetching investors or sitting across investors to close on subscription agreements, which is basically investment capital to your company. Now, this topic particularly, we're going to discuss the idea of team and what is team and why you need it when it comes to matchmaking. So, one of the biggest things is if you don't have a team and you're going out there to raise money, uh, if you're flawed or there's something's missing, it's already going to cripple your capital raising efforts. Now, why is team so important? Well, a lot of people think that, they can go into the market and they can just basically raise hundreds of millions of dollars just being on their own without needing a team, without needing a committee, or without needing a board of advisors or decision makers. Now that's wrong because when it comes to giving you that kind of capital, when it comes to raising, let's say 100 million, 200 million, or even 300 million, these type of capital thresholds, you absolutely need a team. You need a board of advisors, you need an investment committee, you need a team, a management team that's proficient, that's got a good pedigree. There's third-party verifications on that team to make sure that they're actually who they are that they say on the profile, as well as what their experiences are. Now, when it comes to team and capital matchmaking, when it comes to team, when it goes to when it comes to raising capital and going in front of investors, one of the things that you want to be sure of is how do you guys complement each other, right? Like if you're going to go ahead and raise, and let's go on a very basic level, $10 million. When you're going out there and you're trying to raise that kind of capital at $10 million, they're going to ask you, okay, how do you guys complement each other? How does this particular team, per se, work with each other to complete the business objective? How does this team make this business irresistible to investors? How does this team make this business so successful that it's a miracle waiting to happen? So of course, a lot of people try to hire internal staff by saying, okay, I'm going to hire my brother, sister, friend, uncle, whatever, and then they try to get together and form a team real quick, thinking that this is only temporary and we'll figure out a team later after the capital is here so we can properly hire the people. But don't make that mistake because a lot of people will say, okay, well, who is this person and why are you putting this team together? Why is this friend of yours and this board of advisors or this friend of yours as an engineer or wherever it is that your business is running on, right? So, sorry, always make sure, okay, that your team is good. Always make sure that your infrastructure is solid because if your team is not good, if your team is very, very mediocre, you're wasting your time, right? When you're going to go in front of investors, you're not going to get any money. You're going to be wasting your time. So make sure your team is solid. Find the right people. Even get them to commit part time, whatever it is. Find a board of advisors. If you're raising, over $1 million to even $10 million, you need this because we're going to be sitting down across investors. If you hire me, you retain me, we go on a month-to-month basis. We're going to be doing road shows, and that means we're going to be sitting across investors. We're going to be shaking hands, meeting investors at their comfort level, and that means that they're going to start asking questions, and they're going to start looking into who your business is and who your team is, as well, and of course your infrastructure. We discussed this in the first video. So make sure that all that is done ahead of time. Make sure that you have all that covered. So some of the key roles when it comes to the team is complementary, right? So if you're a CEO, you probably need like a CTO, which is a chief technology officer. You need a marketing director, a person who will go out and do your sales. And typically, right? Typically, the members in your team have to be experienced, right? Like yourself, if you're starting a business and you want to raise $10 million, do you have experience in handling, let's say, $1 million or even a couple of $100,000? And if so, what's your success? Like what's the pattern of success? What's your past? What's your history? So your pedigree is very important, right? Don't even think about raising capital if your pedigree is not even halfway through, right? If you're going to ask for $100 million, make sure that you've dealt with $10 million. If you're going to ask for $1 million, make sure that you've dealt with $100,000 or even a portion of that $100,000. Now, this is very important because pedigree is what's going to drive the business. It's the fuel behind the success of the business. Now, pedigree consists of your entire team. It's not just yourself singularly, right? I'm not going to single you out, but if you're going to hire, let's say you got good pedigree, you've got the good experience, don't make the mistake of going out and getting a team member who's lacking half the experience that you have in his respective field or industry or her respective field or industry. This is very important. Now, don't hire a team also just because they're friend or family or associates. Now, you want to support them. That's great, and we appreciate that. But the investment world doesn't care about that. The investment world cares about how much money is going to come in, how much is going to come out, how sure and how quickly that's going to be achieved in terms of a target. So you always want to be careful with that. So always make sure that your team is very solid. Make sure that you got the right pedigree. If you don't have the experience, then you got to wait it off. Even if it takes a few years to build that, get a name out there for yourself. Build authority. Find team. Create a structure in which your team can come together and complement each other to support the business infrastructure. To make sure that the investors can have confidence when looking at your team, that this team will be able to fulfill what they said they're going to be able to do, and this business does make sense. So I hope that this video was helpful and that you got some value out of this. The next episode is going to be even more interesting. Stay tuned. This is Ali Raptor, your guide and mentor. Bye for now.